The guilt around asking for help and spending money is also based on old programming. It is safe and it is more than okay for us to invest in the things that are going to help us run our homes in a healthy way. If you don't believe that, write it down and look at it until you do, because I'm telling you, it is okay. But if you can't afford that, that's okay too. Connect with other moms, connect with other parents. Ask neighbors for help. Ask classmates' parents for help. Ask teammates' parents for help. Let's help each other. Let's do trades. It really does go a long way.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high-achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life-altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom through a life unperfected. What is up, mamas? My name is Brooke Jean, and I am your host of the Unperfected Pod. And here is a safe place where we embrace our messy, shed the shoulds, and talk honestly about the challenges of juggling work and family and wellness and all the things. And this week, I'm excited to address something that's been coming up time and time again, not only in myself, but with so many people I know, mamas I know, and clients that I'm working with, which is how to know when you need help and how to actually ask for help. So let me paint a picture for you. It's Monday morning, you wake up, you're 5 minutes behind schedule, and you're underwater in your to-do list before you even roll out of bed. You spend the morning scrambling to get your children ready for school, to get yourself ready to work, to get your partner out for the day, and you drop the kids off, you make it to work just to realize that you packed the wrong bag. You don't have the things that you need for your day ahead. But you don't really have time to focus on that or fix that or address that because you're already 5 minutes late to your first meeting. And you hustle and you run from meeting to meeting to meeting to engagement to obligation without even having time to catch your breath, let alone have a snack or a drink of water or, heaven forbid, check in on your stress level or what you might be needing for the day. And you carry the stress from the previous meeting and the meeting before that and your hectic morning and your night before and your week before and your month before. You carry all of that stress into the next thing that you enter into. Just to rush from work, feeling like you're going to be late again, picking up the kids, scurrying them off to their extracurriculars, no real time for being present, no time for connection, just getting them where they need to be. Then taking them through a drive-through on the way home just to rush into homework and all of the evening routines, maybe getting through dinner, maybe getting through the homework, looking at showers and baths and books and preparation for the next day. Pecking your partner hello, asking how was your day without any real interest in hearing or any energy to actually listen to what happened in their day. To get the kids into their wind down rituals and routines, making sure that their teeth are brushed or not, getting them down to bed just to plop, and I mean plop, into your bed by 9 or 10 o'clock at night, where you roll over, you look at your partner, and you just grunt, which basically means, hey dude, or hey girl, how was your day? There's no energy to connect. There's no energy for self-care. There's no energy to replenish. And basically, you just turn your backs to each other, look at your phone, and let TikToks drive this puppy all the way home. To then fall asleep and wake up tomorrow and do the same damn thing all over again. times another day, times another week, times another month, times another year, and maybe times another decade. And this is why we fall into a burnout cycle. Because we spend our days rushing from one thing to the next, not present, not in our bodies, no room for play or pleasure or joy or connection or the things that actually light us up. And we still, at the end of that day, go through the list of all the things undone and all the things unsaid and just beating ourselves up for what could have been and how much more we could have done, instead of acknowledging how much we already are and already do and already have. And this is why, according to a recent research study, and recent meaning 2022, you guys know how research works. It's not up to date. So I am totally confident that these numbers have just continued to rise. But in 2022, a research study, according to Ohio State University, found that 66% of working parents are feeling burnt out. So that is well over half. And obviously well underreported. So many of us are finding ourselves in this cycle of just doing and being all the things and being on the brink of burnout. So if you are on that brink, mama, you are not alone. So today we're going to talk about why is it so hard for us to ask for help, especially when we're on the brink of burnout. How to know when you need help, how to know what you need, who you can ask for help from, how exactly we can ask for help. Like, I'm going to give you actual scripts and statements and ways to ask, since I know that's a block for so many of us. And what's it cost if we don't? If we don't start asking for help, what's going to happen to us? Busy, overachieving, highly anxious working parents. So let's start with, why the heck is it so hard for us to ask for help? Let me remind you of this psychological phenomenon called conditioning, which basically is a fancy way of saying because we've learned that as women, that as mothers, we're supposed to do it all. We're supposed to be there for our kids every second of the day. We should, get them ready for school in a certain way and do homework and feed them organic meals and send them with bento boxes for lunch. And we should have them in 2 to 3 activities, and we should be able to get them there on time. But we also are supposed to be bringing home the bacon, and we should be supporting the income coming in the home. And we're supposed to be doing this all with a grateful heart. And we should be connecting with our partner, and we should be having sex 2 times a week. And we should be having dinner around a table where we're asking deep and meaningful questions. We should be able to do it all. Right? Conditioning has taught us what a good girl is supposed to look like, what a good mom is supposed to look like and act like and sound like and be like. But here's the problem with that old programming. That old programming didn't have in mind how much we're doing today, right? When grandma was making those organic home-cooked meals, she wasn't working like we are now. When mom was putting on those fabulous holidays and showing up for the PTO and being the homeroom mom and coaching our teams, she wasn't working. She wasn't the breadwinner. Or maybe she was, but that is rare. Today's modern working mama is not only working, but she's the breadwinner of the family. She has taken on more and more and more without getting anything off of her plate. And so you guys know that I'm passionate about mommy's mental health, because this rise in expectation of the modern mom and all the shit that we're doing parallels a rise in our mental health conditions. So what do you think comes with that 66% burnout? Shame, guilt, anxiety, overwhelm, irritability, autoimmune diseases, all sorts of ailments in our mind, body, and spirit come with that 66% burnout rate. And so something has to give, but we don't feel comfortable asking for help because we have these deep subconscious internal beliefs that as good mothers, we should be able to handle this. We should be able to do it all. We are supposed to spend every waking minute being of service to somebody, giving to our families, giving to our partners, giving to our teams, giving to our jobs, giving to our kids' classrooms and their teams and our communities. because we have an idea of what a good enough mother looks like in our head. And we think, based on all of these images that are blasted on social media where everyone's putting their highlights, we think like we must be the only one who's struggling with this. Why am I the only mother who can't balance all these things? The reality is you are not. None of us can do all of that. None of us have balance. We're just not talking about how hard it is because we're afraid people are going to judge us and think that we're not appreciative of our children and our families and this precious role of being a mother. But we need to toss that out the window because both can exist. We can absolutely love being a mother and love our children unconditionally and endlessly, and also say out loud, this gig is freaking hard. There is so much demand on me that there is little to nothing left for me as a person, and I am serving from a dry well, and I am burning out, and that is making me resentful, unhappy, lash out at my children, lash out at my partner, or lash out inward at myself every single day. And to cope and to keep up with this endless cycle of to-dos and burnout, I am, fill in the blank, your self-sabotaging behavior. I am binge eating at night. I am eating too much. I am drinking too much. I am shopping mindlessly. I am perfecting everything. I am running towards perfection instead of facing my feelings. I am stuffing my feelings with gambling or social media or texting my ex. Whatever it is, you're numbing out and you're running from being present and feeling what's in your body because what you're feeling in your body is uncomfortable. So something has to give, my loves. We have got to start saying no, lowering the bar, and asking for help. But I understand why you don't. Because you have messaging in your brain and your body around what it means to be a good mom. And you believe that you should be able to do it all. And that's why shedding the shoulds and reprogramming your subconscious beliefs around what it means to be a good enough mother is always one of the places I start with when I work with people. Okay, so if you haven't already, go back to the beginning of this podcast where I talk about conditioning. I believe it's episode 2, where I teach you about the programming and the subconscious core beliefs and how we develop them and how those affect our thoughts and how our thoughts affect our feelings and our behaviors, which perpetuates those narratives and become neural pathways, and therefore that your default thinking patterns, therefore your default behavior patterns. I teach you guys the neuroscience of this. It's so easy to get stuck in this, but we have to break free. We cannot continue to do more and not face the fact that it's costing us our mental and emotional and physical well-being. Okay? So we're no longer saying a perfect mother does all this shit. We're no longer striving for perfection. What we're doing instead is choosing the few things that matter the most to us in our lives and in our families and in our homes and in our careers, and we're letting those things guide us. Okay? So how do we know when it's time to ask for help? How do we know when we need help? Well, number one, I am just going to be the voice of reason that tells you, without even knowing you, you need help. Okay? My love, you need help. You deserve help. You don't believe me? Stop what you're doing right now. Get out a piece of pen or get out a piece of paper and a pen. Write out all the stuff you do in a day and in a week. And I want you to brain dump literally every single thing that you do. Okay? You're managing the children. You're feeding the family. You're making sure everyone's kept up on their doctor's appointments, their dentist appointments. You're making sure your kids are emotionally healthy. If they have anything going on at school or any social stuff, you're on top of that. You know when it's time to register for t-ball and softball. You know when we need new cleats. You know that your daughter needs to be tested for allergies or if they're gifted and talented and now they need to get into this program. You're responding to the school emails. You're in the portals, the endless fucking portals. Why are there so many portals? And why are they so ancient from like 1927? Can we get at least an updated portal? Right? You know what's going on with your partner and what's going on in their family and what's going on with work with them. You know that your neighbor is struggling. You know that your best friend is going through a hard time. You know that your kid's outgrowing their size 4T. Right? You know, you just constantly juggling all of these balls in your head. And that's just the emotional labor. That doesn't even look at the physical manifestation of this shit and how much time and energy and sanity it takes for you to stay on top of it and get the kids to these things and follow through on these action items and be where you're supposed to be and where the kids are supposed to be and where your partner is supposed to be, while making sure the house is safe and clean, while making sure the children are fed, while making sure that we're still having a fabulous Labor Day weekend. We're having a mediocre Labor Day weekend, and I'm fine with it, okay? The point is if you don't believe me that as of right now, you need and deserve help, write out everything that you're doing, not only physically, but in that mental load of motherhood. And if you're not validated when you see how long that list is, honey, send it to me and I'll validate it for you. So you don't realize how much you're doing and that it's too much because of conditioning. That's problem number one. I'm here to give you that honest and direct permission that it's a lot. It's a lot. It's more than you ever thought you would have to do. It's more than you ever imagined this gig would require of you. So without me even knowing you, I can tell you, you need help. You deserve help. Here's the other thing you got to do is follow your feelings and follow your triggers. When and where in your days and weeks and months do you feel the most overwhelmed, the most anxious, the most flooded? When and where do you get resentful? Why do I have to be the one? Why is it always landing on me? Why am I always the one responsible for this? What would happen if I wasn't the safety net in this area, and this area, and this time of day? Where do I get triggered? Where I go into some version of a fight, where I pick a fight with my partner, or maybe I raise my voice at my children, or I go into a flight where I just want to run away, or a freeze where I'm sitting and spinning and I can't even see the path forward. Or maybe a fawn where I just go veg out on the couch and numb the hell out for 3 hours. Follow your feelings and follow your triggers. That is going to lead you to spaces and places that you are overwhelmed and you need help. So a time for me where I get really overwhelmed and overstimulated, which also just so happens to be a common time that our kids are overwhelmed and stimulated, our partners, so it's a real shit show in the whole family dynamic, is the 4 to 6 p.m. And it's where the kids are coming home from school and they're melting down because they had to behave all day. We're coming home from work and we're melting down because we had to behave all day. And now we still have a shit ton of shit to do. We got to get to sports and we got to get to dinner and we got to do homework. And so maybe getting them to the extracurriculars is okay. But when you come back from the extracurriculars, we're even more tired. And now we have to do homework. Nobody wants to do homework, right? And so your kids are resisting and you're losing your patience and your partner's trying to step in, but their help is never the right help. Or maybe they're not and they're watching TV, which, hello, trigger, are you effing kidding me? It's like that pocket of time where you're just miserable or just really struggling. And this is often when we start engaging in our self-sabotaging behaviors because we've run out of cognitive fuel. We've run out of decision-making skills. We've run out of energy and sanity. So what do? We open that bottle of wine. We start snacking on the cookies in the pantry. We start numbing out with these behaviors to get through that final shift of working parenthood. So that would be a space where you're like, shit, I need help. I need help. I either need my partner to step in and run homework so I can cook dinner, or I need my meals made and delivered for me because I can't freaking figure out dinner. Or I need to, have a picnic out of the house where the kids can play and get their energy out because being in the house is driving all of us insane. Okay, so in order to figure out where you need help, look at where in your day are you really struggling. Has it become too much? Are you melting down? Is your family melting down? By the way, this is normal. Let's normalize normal. Everybody melting down in these hours. They're called the witching hour for a reason. Okay? But for you, maybe it's actually before school. Maybe getting yourself ready and the kids ready for school really is an anxiety-producing time for you. Maybe you need help in those hours. Maybe you need help claiming some space for yourself in the middle of your day when you're crashing after that first coffee. And so just be paying attention. This is going to require a little mindfulness and awareness, because awareness is the vehicle to change. We cannot change what we're unaware of. And if you're not at all spending any time paying attention to yourself and your feelings and your thoughts and your nervous system and you're overwhelmed, then you don't know when and where you need help. So I would start there. And you don't even have to add on any time or any to do to your list. Okay, in between tasks, take a deep breath, turn your attention inward. What's going on in my mind and body? When you go to the restroom, pause, check inward. What's up for myself right now? What is my overwhelm level? What is my stress level? Scale it 1 to 10. 1 being I'm golden, 10 being I'm about ready to have a panic attack, or I'm in a panic attack, or I'm about ready to run away from this family and this life. Okay? When you're in your car driving between meetings or between things that you have on your calendar, pause, take a breath. What is going on with me right now? And wherever that stress level is getting up there in the 7, 8, 9, and 10, not only is that where we need some help, potentially, we also needed some proactive and preventative stress relieving coping mechanisms before that, right? But I'm not going to really go far into coping mechanisms and my mental health and self-care toolbox, because I created an episode all around that. Today, I really want to talk about asking for help, okay? Lowering the bar and asking for help. So number one, it's hard for us as mothers to ask for help because we have these beliefs that we're supposed to be able to do it all, that we should be able to handle it. And we have to toss those old beliefs out because they're not relevant for today's context, being a modern working mom. We need new beliefs that say, good enough moms decide a couple of things that they're really passionate about and they lead with those in their family. They don't do it all. They do some things really consciously, and they let the rest go. Number two, how to know when you need help is to follow your feelings and follow your triggers and find those sore spots in your day and your week and your month that are almost just impossible, unbearable. And maybe you're acting outside your highest self and engaging in behaviors that you feel guilt and shame around in order to cope with how hard those moments are. And can we also please take off the shame that we feel when we act outside of our highest self to cope with this shit? This is a full, beyond full plate that you're managing. So if you are doing things in order to survive that are not healthy, I get it. I've been doing the same shit for the last 20 years. Okay, I have worked on these things. I have gotten better, but am I perfect? No. I'm a work in progress just like you, mama. Okay, but at my peak, when I had the hardest job and I was trying to be a stay-at-home quality mom, and I was spending every waking minute making up for something and being somewhere and being something for someone, every single night I was downing at least a bottle of wine, eating at least a plate of brie cheese, ordering a bunch of shit on Amazon just to have shitty sleep and to wake up the next morning and do it all over again. It was too much. So there is no shame. You are surviving. You are doing the best you can do. But it is time for us to ask for help and let some of this go so we don't have to take a sledgehammer to our mental health every night just to cope, just to numb out, just to escape. We need to create a life that we don't need to escape from. And we do that by taking better care of ourselves, by giving ourselves permission to do so. And we start really small. And today we're talking about asking for help. So let's roll into how to know what we need. Okay? I can tell you right now, you need little pockets of time to breathe and to regulate your nervous system. You also need to be able to step away when things get really sticky and hard. So if you're in a situation where you're triggered, you know that you're overwhelmed, you need to step away. Okay? Leave the kitchen, go upstairs to the bathroom and take some belly breaths. Leave the home and go walk around the neighborhood. Leave work and go outside and sit in your car and do a 10-minute meditation. Leave the meeting if you need to. Leave the game if you need to. Do not take the kids to practice if you're literally melting down and you need space, or ask someone else to get them there, right? And so look at I already told you can write out all the things that you do as a mom in a day and in a week. And of those things, what of those things do you absolutely loathe? They bring you no joy. In fact, they are energy suckers, baby. Energy sucks. Where are the energy sucks? Maybe it's meeting with your boss. Maybe it's brushing your kids' teeth. Maybe it's meal planning. Maybe it's quarterly planning for your business. Maybe it's, I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's no shame or no judgment in what it is. We all have different gifts and different things that we bring to this parenting table, different things that we love doing. It doesn't make you a bad mom that you don't love playing on the floor with your kid, but you do love taking them on experiences. That's me as a mother. It doesn't make you a bad mom that you hate doing homework, but you love homemade cooking with your kids. None of us, there's no rubric to success here. And I think it's really important that we really try to let that in and integrate it, because whatever it is that you're good at, that you love, is what your kiddos need. It's okay that you're not great at all the things. It's okay that you don't love all the things. It doesn't make you a bad mom. It makes you a perfectly imperfect human mom, and the exact mom that those beautiful children need. Are you hearing me? Okay, so look at the list of things that you do, and what is it that you loathe? That might be a starting point in a thing that you ask for help around. So maybe you loathe taking your kiddo to dance 2 times a week, so you're going to ask a friend to do a trade. Maybe you loathe doing the meal prep, so you hire a nutritionist to do your meal planning and your meal cooking, or you delegate that to your partner. Maybe you loathe cleaning the house, so you outsource a cleaning person. Maybe you loathe the morning shift and getting the kids ready, so you ask your partner, can you take the kids to school and I'll be the one to always pick them up? Maybe you loathe these meetings that are on your calendar, so you change those up. Why are we so afraid to ask to do something different? Like, I'm always asking, and I think this is part of what makes me successful, is I'm always curious around, like, why the fuck are we still doing this? Why are we meeting over this? We don't need to be, this could be an email. Why are we doing it this way? And it's not like a negative thing. It's just like curiosity, like, why are we still doing it that way? Is there a better way? Do we absolutely need to do that? Do I absolutely need to be here? If I don't, listen to me. I don't need to be here. I'm not going to be here. We don't need to have this meeting. Let's not have this meeting. We can have this meeting more infrequently. Let's have the meeting more infrequently. Do not be afraid to look at things through a critical thinking lens and be like, why are we still doing it this way? It's costing us time, energy, and sanity, and it's not really helping us kick the ball down the field. Look at things and just constantly assess, like, do we really need to be doing it this way? Is there a better way? Can I just stop doing it altogether? Give yourself permission to analyze how you're spending your time, energy, and sanity, and to challenge the way in which we've always done things. We don't have to continue doing it this way. Just because it's been this way forever doesn't mean it needs to remain, right? Well, also, what's not in alignment with your core values? So if you haven't done any values work, I highly recommend it. There's these cards that you can buy on Amazon. They're called Life Compass cards. It's a really cool exercise that you go through to determine what your core values are. These are things that matter the most to you. And as a mother, as a leader of your family, as a leader of our communities, we need to be clear on what actually matters to us, because those become our guiding principles to the things that we say yes to and the things that we say no to. So for me, my top 3 core values are purpose, pleasure, and playfulness. And everything that I'm passionate about in terms of laughter and humor and growth and being of service and making an impact on the world and raising my children the way that I want to raise them, and luxury and vacation and ocean and water, all of that stuff, that really dancing and music, connection. All that stuff that truly makes me light up and come alive and has been core to who the frick I am since I was born. I run everything through that filter. Is this serving purpose, pleasure, and playfulness? Can I show up with this thing with an energy of purpose, pleasure, and playfulness? If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Okay? And now there's always going to be some things that we have to do that maybe don't align, like our taxes, which you can hire someone to help you, but there are some things that you need to do to like set that process up, right? There are some non-negotiables, right? We got to wipe our kids' butts. We got to clean up their poop mess. We got to, you know what I'm saying? Like there's things that we're going to have to do that maybe aren't always in alignment, and there's space for that. But those are not going to be taking up the majority of my calendar. I'm not going to be wiping butts all day, every day, honey. If I'm going to be leading with purpose, pleasure, and playfulness, I suddenly have the energy and the patience and the bandwidth for those things that are low-hanging fruit that we don't love, but they just come with the gig. You see, when you're leading with your values, there is space for those curveballs. But when you're leading with everybody else's values, when you're in alignment with what everyone else wants of you, when you're being of service to everyone else and completely neglecting yourself, yeah, we don't have a lot of patience and tolerance for those curveballs, do we? Those curveballs become triggers. You have more patience and tolerance when you're taking care of yourself, when you're living more intentionally, when there's space for you and the shit that lights you up on your calendar, when you're leading with your values, and you're teaching your family something really important too, which is it doesn't matter what the world is doing. It doesn't matter what's important to everyone else. What matters is what's important to us as people, and we get to live in alignment with that. And that makes you a leader, and that makes you unique and special and authentic and maybe even a trailblazer. You're teaching your kids so many positive things by getting clear on what matters to you and only engaging in those things and saying no to the rest. Don't you want your kids to have boundaries? Don't you want your kids to not take on too much and be burnt out? Don't you want your kids to find what lights them up and go chase that in the world? Yes, we want to teach our kids that there's some things they have to do, like work or pay their bills or brush their teeth or clean their room. But it's also true that they get to follow their bliss and chase joy and do things that light them up and be passionate about things and make a difference about things and take time for themselves to go play ball, to go ski, to go be out in nature, to think, to read, to create, to be, to connect. When you lead by example, our kids are watching what we're doing, not what we're saying. So if you don't learn to ask for help, if you don't lower the bar and say no to some things, so will your children. And they're going to be burnt out and resentful. You can't expect your kids to have a happy life when you're modeling for them chaos and burnout and lack of clarity around what actually matters. Less is more. I promise you, less is more. So now who the heck can we ask for help? Who can we ask for help? Now, some of us are more privileged than others in that maybe you have a partner that you can actually communicate with. Maybe you don't have a partner that you can communicate with. Maybe you don't have a partner at all. Maybe you don't have any family near you. Maybe you just moved to a new place and you don't have any friends yet. I want to acknowledge and honor that you may be in a place where you literally are thinking, Brooke, I don't have anyone. And that's where I say, then you reach out to my private Facebook group, Mommy's Mental Health Matters, and you drop in there what you're struggling with, and we will rally around you and we will help you. That is where I say, join a free mama meetup. Go to meetup.com in your local area, or go to a MOPS group. Find free mom gathering places. Take your kids to parks and meet moms there. Enroll your kid in something. Go to the free play place in the mall, meet moms there. It doesn't have to cost money. I'm willing to spend money to build my community. And what's really kind of hard about today's society, again, the modern working mom problems, is we are not inherently born into community anymore. We do need to strategically and budget for community. We need to buy our doula. We need to buy our mom group. We need to buy that therapy mom group we want to go to. We need to buy into that Fit for Mom class or whatever that thing is. But for those of us who cannot afford a goddamn thing, go to the free stuff. Go to the park. Go to the free play place. There are free mom meetups online at meetup.com. Okay, we have got to connect with other mothers. If you have no family and no partner, you've got to connect with other mothers. Okay? But if you do have a partner, I want you to hear me on this. We should be dividing the emotional and mental labor of our homes and our children. And some partners are really rising to the occasion. So my husband, he's pretty darn good. He's very involved. He's attuned to my daughter's emotional needs. There's nothing that I do that he wouldn't be willing to do. Now, does he automatically know we need to do all of these things? No, his brain just doesn't go there. Men are really good at doing whatever's right in front of them and only one thing at a time, bless them. But they don't know like the thousands of balls that we're carrying. They don't randomly think, I wonder if Chloe's been to the dentist in a while. They don't randomly think, I wonder how Camden's mental health is starting school, if he's struggling to get used to the transition. They don't think about that shit. They don't think about, are my kids exercised enough emotionally and mentally and spiritually? However, they need to take on half of this load and be managers, not just executors, okay? So there's a phenomenal book called Fair Play by Eve Rodsky. Get this book, Fair Play. She is going to talk about the mental load. She's going to give you tips and tricks and tools. I even bought the game that she has where you go through each week with your partner. Well, first of all, you go through with your partner everything that matters to you and your family. So our kids going to school, our spiritual lives, having extracurriculars, having family time, making memories, vacations, having a tidy house, eating healthy food, whatever matters to you and your partner. You write out a card for it. And then here's the juicy part. You write out everything that's required to make that happen. So if you want to have a pet, you're going to write out, well, who's researching what kind of dog we should get? Where should we get it? Who's going to take it for a walk? Where are we going to board the dog if we go on vacation? You look at everything that goes into it. It's not just feeding the family. It's thinking of and putting together the food plan, writing out the food list. Where are we going to go grocery? Getting the coupons together, making sure you have the reusable bags, buying the food, storing the food, prepping the food, cooking the food, cleaning the food, looking at dietary restrictions, right? Because a lot of times also our partners are like, oh, you run the dance situation. They have no idea how much is involved in that. That is a part-time job, sweetie. So the game gives you the opportunity to decide together the things that matter in your family, then write out everything that's required. And then each Sunday, each partner gets to pick the cards they want to manage. So if your husband is going to pick the dance card, honey, you're in charge of everything on that list. And you also need to be resourceful and get it done without my help. I'm not your boss. I'm not your leader. I'm not your guide. I'm not your trainer. I'm not your coach. If you don't know what to do, bitch, Google it. And also ask a friend. Oh, you don't have any dad friends? You might want to get a dad friend. You don't have any dad community? Join yourself a dad group. Because they use us as the nucleus for everything. All the information. Like we're Google. Guys, we're not Google. Our partners are perfectly capable of being resourceful. They have the list of what's required. If they just took a little time to figure it out like we have to do, when we have to figure something out, number one, they're going to be more helpful because they figure it out. Number two, they're going to also understand why we get so overwhelmed with carrying all this mental load. Because we are constantly being their Google while Googling our 17 balls that we're currently juggling. So especially if you work, mama, you and your partner, if you're both working, you should be dividing the mental load of parenting 50-50. And so you may ask yourself, because now we're going to kind of flow into how do I ask for help? You may get the book, Fair Play, get the game, and you may ask your partner, hey, babe, what do you think about Sunday morning having some coffee and talking about the week ahead and looking at what we got coming down the pipeline and looking to divide and conquer? You want to schedule the time. Hey, babe, what do you think about Sunday night going to a brewery and talking about how we're going to divide and conquer next week, next month, this season, this summer, Christmas, the holidays, whatever's coming up. Hey, babe, I was looking ahead and we have a lot coming up and I'm going to need your help. Can we talk about that Wednesday night when we go to dinner? So you want to check the timing. You want to schedule the conversation. You want to lead with, hey, I was thinking and I was noticing and I'm looking ahead and I would love to connect about this. That's not going to make them defensive. That's not going to put them off. You're leading with what you're needing. Then you go and you have the meeting and you bring the calendar and you say, this is what's coming down. I could really use your help with this, this, and this. Or I read this amazing book, Fair Play. Would you be willing? Would you be willing to go through this exercise with me where we get some clarity on the things that actually matter in our family, and then we kind of figure out who can do what so we can cover all of our bases and shit, maybe even find some time for you and I to connect. Hey, winky winky, right? Or hey, babe, I'm really feeling like I need some time to myself, and I bet you're also craving some of that time for you. Let's get together Wednesday night and look at all the stuff we got going on and figure out where we can carve out some time for us individually. Or let's figure out where we can carve some time for us to connect and have some intimate time or some alone time or some time to catch up. You know what your partner craves. Lead with that. But do you see how I'm doing this? It's checking the timing. It's saying, I would love to connect with you on this. It's saying, I need, and I bet you could use this too. It's not what we all normally do is don't ask for help. We hit that resentment peak and then we say, why aren't you effing doing more? Why aren't you doing this? Or we don't say anything at all and we repress those feelings and it just brews this energetic and emotional storm on the inside, right? So those are some really safe and non-confrontational ways to ask your partner for help. But here's some other people that you can outsource. You can hire help. You can hire a mommy's helper. You can ask your neighbors. So right now, it's a holiday. I've spent the last 2 days with my daughter doing special things and my son. We went to go see him in Boulder. My husband is working, and a third day of doing kid-friendly things was too much for me, and also missing Monday when it's the one day in my work week that I get to do all the behind-the-scenes business stuff was really stressing me out. So I have a fabulous neighbor. She has 2 fabulous daughters, and the oldest daughter has played with Chloe before. So I reached out to her and said, hey, are you guys around this weekend? Do you guys have plans on Monday? If your daughter is around, would she like to make some money and come play with Chloe while I work? And guess what? She's here and she's hanging with my daughter. My daughter's having the time of her life for 3 hours so I can have some time for me. And I'm going to work, and then I'm also going to read a book. I'm going to do some things for me because I asked for help. It is okay to ask for help. Can we trade? Can you take the kids on Saturday morning and I'll take them Sunday morning? Can I take the kids to dance on Monday? You take the kids to dance on Wednesday. You're going to have to get to know the other parents because we can help each other. We are a community, right? So you can definitely ask your partner. You can definitely hire help, whether it's someone to clean your house, cook your meals, be a nanny, be a mommy's helper and run errands for you. Whatever it is, you can hire help, but you need to budget for it, and you need to not feel guilt that you need a budget for that and that you spend money on that. We have no qualm spending money on every single thing that our kids need. Why do we feel bad spending money to help us run this household and run it well? I don't feel bad spending money for the things that I need. Okay? It makes me a better wife. It makes me a better partner. It makes me a healthier human. It makes me a better coach and therapist. So listen, the guilt around asking for help and spending money is also based on old programming. It is safe and it is more than okay for us to invest in the things that are going to help us run our homes in a healthy way. If you don't believe that, write it down and look at it until you do, because I'm telling you, it is okay. But if you can't afford that, that's okay too. Connect with other moms, connect with other parents, ask neighbors for help, ask classmates' parents for help, ask teammates' parents for help. Let's help each other. Let's do trades. It really does go a long way. So I've given you a little bit of a script on how to ask your partner for help, but it's kind of similar when asking another parent for help. Hey, I was thinking during this fill in the blank, the time that you need because you're overwhelmed, I could really use some help around this. Insert the thing you need help with. What do you think about this, your solution? You help me on this day and I'll help you on this day. Or you can just call your friend and say, I'm effing flooded. I'm drowning. Can the kids come to your house and play? Or I'm really struggling and I'm behind this morning. Can you pick up my kids on the way to school? It's also safe and okay to just say, I'm struggling. I need help. Can you help me? But that, I feel like, is a more advanced technique. Like, we're going to need to work through the programming and the reprogramming and the guilt. Like, you may need to start in a safer and smaller zone of like, I need to ask my husband if he could pick the kids up on Wednesdays so I can go to yoga. I need to ask my mom if she could take the kids Sunday so I can go on a hike or meditate or whatever the hell, go on a date with my husband. Start small. But once you start asking for help and you receive a positive response to that, because most of your friends want to help you. Most moms want to help each other. We get it. We get it. Then it becomes liberating and you start to ask for more help and you start to give more help and you start to find this group. But I want you to be thinking about working your way all the way up to like, it's okay to just ask your partner, like, I need to check out for the rest of the day. I am so flooded. I need you to just shut the house down and I'm out. Okay. And everything in between. And you will play with this and you will find your style. You will find a way that works for you, but just ask from a place of like, don't do it when you're triggered. Don't do it when you're frustrated. If it's going to come out sideways, that is not the time to ask for help. You need to go regulate your nervous system and come back when you're a bit more grounded. You come from a clean energy. You come from a space of course I need help. I'm struggling as a working mom. And of course people want to help me. And I'm going to lead with what I need. And I'm going to get the help that I deserve. And you focus on the I, what I need, what I'm going through, what I notice. And you also give and receive. So you give back as well. This is an exchange of energy. You see what's happening here. The final tip that I want to leave you guys with is having a code word with your partner, or let's say you don't have a partner, but you have 3 kids with your oldest kid or with your nanny, whoever's in your home with you. Okay, whether it's your oldest kid or your nanny or your partner, having a code word when you actually really need to step away because you're gonna lose it. You know, so your code word could be watermelon or flooded, and you and your partner, or you and your nanny, or you and your oldest child. If you say watermelon, it means I'm getting the heck out of here so I can go regulate my nervous system. Don't follow me. Don't bother me. I'll be back when I'm back online. Or if a word is too hard to define, you could do a wink, like a facial expression, or an action. So for me, I've done a lot of talking with my partner, and so he knows, like, I have my morning ritual. He knows that I have my afternoon ritual with my yoga nidra. And he also knows from 6:30 to 7:30, I'm either going to go on a walk or I'm going to go in the bath. And if I just go upstairs and close the master door or the primary suite, if I close the primary door and I start running the bath, everybody knows, honey, it's mommy's time. She needs a moment. She's taking care of herself. She's regulating her nervous system. Do not follow her in the bath and ask her questions. Do not try to get into the bath with her. Do not bug her. So whether it is an action that you take that indicates to the family, I need help, I need to step away, I need this time, or it's a wink, or it's a code word. This is a way to ask for help, and honor it for your partner as well if you have one. So just to recap, it is hard for us as moms to ask for help because we've been conditioned that we should be able to do it all. Yet we're doing more than we've ever done, and it's making us sick. 66% of us in this study in 2022 report burnout. Okay, as moms, we have more anxiety, more depression, more PTSD than ever before. As moms, as women, we have all the autoimmune diseases. Why do we have autoimmune diseases? Because we're doing too much and we're repressing our feelings about it. We're repressing our trauma. We're repressing our feelings. That is becoming ailments in our body. If you haven't already, get The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate, where he presents the research to back what I'm saying. We are literally making ourselves sick by doing all of this. That is the cost here. And if we are sick, how can we feel our best? And if we don't feel good, how can we show up in the world and be the parent and the partner and the leader that we want to be? It is costing us our sanity. It is costing us what's possible in our careers. It is costing us real connection with our people that we love. It is costing us presence, which is the most important thing we have in this wild and messy world. Happiness isn't somewhere out there. It's in this very moment, being okay. And we need presence to find that. But we can't find that if we're so busy doing all the things and being all the things and trying to keep up, striving for perfection, serving from a dry well, and then burying ourselves in the overwhelm and the stress and the resentment and maybe even self-sabotaging in order to keep up and to cope and to numb. So we're not doing that anymore, my loves. What we're doing instead is lowering the bar, getting clear on what matters most, letting those things guide what we engage in, and asking for frickin' help. Follow your feelings and your triggers to figure out where in your day and week and month you could use the help. Look at your to-do list and look at the things that you loathe, that are energy suckers, that do not bring you joy, that you struggle through. It's like, oh, it's like swimming through mud to get this done. That might be where you need help. Then look at who you can ask for help. Is it your mom? Is it your neighbor? Is it your partner? Is it your daughter's best friend in her class's mom? Is it other dance moms or baseball moms or hockey moms or, whatever the thing is that your kids are into? Join free mom communities, meetup.com, MOPS. Moms are meeting. They're meeting at playgrounds, whether it's indoor or outdoor, and connect and show up, ask for help, and give and receive, right? I gave you guys a couple scripts on how to actually ask. Go back and listen to this again and write them down, because I know there's so many obstacles between you knowing what you need and you asking for it. Number one is giving yourself permission to need the help. That's where the programming comes in. Number two is identifying who can help you and what you need help with. And then number three is, well, how the heck do I ask? And by the time you get to number three, you feel like there's no good way to ask, or you feel bad taking up that space, or you don't want to be a burden. That's why I give you actual scripts, ways to verbalize what you need. I highly recommend Fair Play as a resource to support you on this journey, but just start. It doesn't matter if it doesn't come out perfectly. It doesn't matter if it's not well put together and eloquent. You will learn as you go better ways and better methods of getting your needs met. But I think the key that I want to leave you with today is that if you are a mother in today's society, you absolutely need help. You absolutely deserve help. And you are an incredible, amazing mom when you go out and receive that help. I love you so much. I hope you got something out of this conversation today. If you haven't already, please join us in the Mommy's Mental Health Matters private Facebook group. I've been showing up and pouring into that group, giving free life coaching every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, where I teach you these methods. I inspire you to go out and take action, and I give you the tools to do just that. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see y'all same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to the Unperfected Pod. I hope this episode helped you feel a little less alone and a little more inspired to be you. If you like what we're doing here, I would so appreciate that you subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. If you do, share the episode on Instagram and tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected to enter to win a 1-to-1 laser coaching session. Also, feel free to join me in my private Facebook community, Mommy's Mental Health Matters, where we continue the conversation. Thanks again for being here, and see you in next week's episode.